Today, our guest is Assistant Professor Dr. Ajjaree Lim Pamont. She is an academic, a consultant, and entrepreneur. And we are going to be listening to what makes her excited in academia, which is innovation management and strategic marketing. So join me as we decode what it takes to have entrepreneurship work in Thailand. Dr. Ajjaree, welcome to Thriving in the Age of Disruption. I'm really excited that we have a chance to catch up today. We last met 4 years ago in Singapore when you were doing your doctorate. Could you just share with our listeners what you're up to these days?
I'm currently a faculty member and a lecturer at the University of Thai Chamber of Commerce, UTCC, and other places as well. So I teach at Thammasat and other places. So my work is about teaching, researching, and also industry engagement, which especially in helping local business adapt and thrive in the time of unpredictable change in Thailand. If you watch the news, we have a lot of change coming up and everything is very challenged and you have to watch out a lot. So I'm also a business consultant for local company business clients outside Thailand who wants to explore Thailand as well. I have a strong passion in entrepreneurship and international business, and we see a lot of leadership style going on, and I think the human perception is very interesting on this.
Oh, wonderful. Coming from an entrepreneurial family, can you share a little bit about your family background and your early exposure to entrepreneurship?
Okay, my family business is importing and exporting flour from European to Thailand, and we have event organizer. We have flower shop in Thailand. My entrepreneur journey start from that point, and then when I grew up, during school, I got a chance to participate in many activities, and also when I work with entrepreneur, I see a lot of things happening during the entrepreneur journey, and I have an appreciation of entrepreneurship because it helps me through a lot of things, including to be a risk-taking person, to have curiosity, have agility, and it's fun and also challenging. It's a big learning curve, the journey that you keep evolving yourself in different situations.
I wanted to interview you specifically about what I call as an entrepreneurial mindset. In today's VUCA world, where we are all facing disruption at an exponential speed, entrepreneurial mindset is important. And I define this mindset as one where you're resourceful. And by resourceful, I mean they're able to identify the problem correctly, because if you define the correct problem, then it's half solved. The second thing is you're able to manage uncertainty and to take risks. And the third thing is you're also creating value. You're not creating only financial value, but also non-financial value and value for yourself and for others. So when I look at your journey in corporates, now as an academic, but you also consult, you've also started some businesses with friends.
Yes.
Which aspect of this entrepreneurial mindset was in the foreground for you? And how do you think it got developed?
I think it's a journey. So entrepreneurship is about mindset. You create that value related to impact. So impact is how you create those value to make things better, because when you're entrepreneur, you have to solve the problem for your client, your customer. And
Yes.
that's called value propositions. And that value proposition is the impact, whether positive, negative, or sometimes you can't identify which one is the real one, but it creates impact in a short term and long term. It's the way of thinking, it's the way you talk, it's the way you implement, and when you absorb things or when you see different things. When you see different things in life, in work, and it's the way you look at the problem. As you mentioned, halfway solve if you get the problem correct. And then the other half coming from resilience, agility, and the experience set that you have been through and ability to see the futures. There is more than one way to solve those problems. That's why we have so many options. The beauty of seeing different things. Yeah.
So when you look back at yourself today, right? Did it all start when you were watching your mom and dad run their flower business?
Yes, yes, that's
Yeah.
that's the point because I think in order to be an entrepreneur, especially from a small family,
Mm.
um, you got to do everything and do whatever it takes to solve those problems because small business is not so resourceful. I think
Mm.
limited resource is what drive us to be a great entrepreneur, and that leads to innovations in a different way. Not only like inventing something in innovative thought is the way you solve the problem and it's the way you approach the problem and facing the failure and getting back up on your feet again and then redo that cycle again and again
Yes.
without fear or I mean everyone has fear but without give up.
Yes,
Mm.
yes. I love that. You're resilient, you're able to keep trying until you make it successful. And that's the pattern for small businesses.
Right.
Because if they don't keep trying today, then tomorrow they have nothing left. Who are
Sometimes you
they?
have your back against the wall. Going forward is the way you define your way and success as well.
Curious about the work that you're doing, both in consulting as well as in research, specializing in innovation management, strategic marketing, as well as entrepreneurship. And so, how do you support companies through that, whether it's local companies or overseas companies wanting to come into Thailand? Can you take us through that?
Okay, the first thing for any journey, as we agree, we have to identify the problem first. And one important skill that a lot of people thought is not important is listening skills.
Hmm.
And so when you listen, you hear things, you hear the problem and the unheard or the unspeak problem that is hidden inside. That's the skill to pick up the things that people want to communicate,
Right.
but sometimes they don't know what they are communicating. Sometimes it's hidden. So ability to listen. When I talk with my clients, I start to think what is a possible way of helping them achieve their target or their goal with their resources because we have different resources, different skill sets. So again, back to understand the problem, maybe a little bit of design thinking that people always talk about. You empathize people, sit in their shoes in these situations.
You just described the
Mm-hmm.
strategic marketing piece.
Yes.
What do you do with the innovation management piece?
Okay, it's related because um, innovation is solving the problem in a different way, in a new way, right? And
Yes.
innovation in organization is different. It depends on that organizations or SME, what problem do they have, and do they have a new way to solve the problem? And solving the problem is gonna be less expense, more efficient, less time consuming, less resource consuming. So you have to find the way to create innovations out of that because the real innovation is when you can make things efficient. Otherwise, it's only the invention because invention is fun when you do it. But if it's innovation, it has to have impact. It has to be commercializable. It has to have value or incremental
Right.
change. So innovation management is about manage the new things, the new solutions to benefit and create most impact to yourself, to your cohort, to your societies.
Right.
That's
Right.
innovation management for everyone.
Right. And then I noticed that, you talked about sustainable entrepreneurship. So how do you then go and, move to that sustainable entrepreneurship? And what's that?
Okay, it's mean to create something, business, society, environment that can be regenerative, inclusive, and future ready. And
Hmm.
it can go on and go on with or without the people. When you see sustainability, you start to look for resource, network, system, or any thought process, even framework that can help you make that business actually sustain. And it's come in different way. People always thought that, oh, it's gonna be BCG or high level of theory, but I think it's actually mom and pops or small local SME can do that as well. And in Thailand, where local SME survive more than 2 generations. Sustainability is equipped inside them, but we just didn't call that sustainability.
Mm.
They have the way of doing things for many, many years. It's just how you perceive it and how you actually see the patterns and bring those patterns to scale.
Wow, excellent. About 35 years ago, when I used to go to Bangkok for my social enterprise work,
Mhm.
it was really great to watch how entrepreneurship was thriving at the community level with the one Tambon, one product projects,
Yes, yes,
right?
yes.
People are creating something through their hand and creating value out of that and are able to sustain their family from that kind of projects.
Yes, the second generation, they have to live up the legacies.
You also talked about the modern business model. What do you mean by that?
Okay. So the modern business model, you have to be open that one business can have more than one business model.
So you mean like it's B2B and B2C,
Yes, or b
something
to
like
b to
that?
c Yes,
Right, right,
that's
right,
one aspect that happened. You can have like normal business like brick and mortar in the traditional way, and at the same time, same product can be used with tech and AI. Let me give you some example. Small SME in Thailand, restaurant owner, you have to see, okay, if I open a restaurant, but the restaurant cannot have only one single income, you can always do, for example, subscription model. You can talk to people and say healthy food is now like a big trend for people. I
yes,
can deliver you 20 days per month with 3 meals per day, and you subscribe every month. So that
right,
subscriptions model, you use technology to leverage.
right,
The
right,
technology can leverage the traditional business to be scalable
right.
and to have more impact.
Thank you for decoding new business models, which I think is a form of innovation management because most
Yes.
people think that innovation is about products or services, but it is also about processes and more importantly, about new business models, right? So when businesses can look at different ways in which they can reach their target audience because technology is here to support them.
Yes, and also the network and the partnership as well. You can see a lot of collaborations. You don't need to do things that you're not good at. Partners support
Yes.
you and you do what you did best. That's leverage power.
Thank you
Yes.
for sharing that. So the entrepreneurial mindset was the first mindset important in today's world of disruption. And the second mindset that is important is the ability to deal with crisis. So I call it the crisis ready mindset. I define crisis as one whereby we experience setback or failure. And in that moment, when we experience a setback or failure, either we can die or we can live. And in that process, we either are freezing or we flee or we can fight back. It's clear to me that you've gone through crisis who has learned how to deal with that effectively. When you talk about resilience, people talk about two things, and that is coping mechanisms or support structures, right? So when you look at your own journey in life, whether it was a personal crisis or whether it was a business crisis, how did you navigate that? And more importantly, what was that practice that you developed that allowed you to be resilient in that moment?
Thank you for these questions right now. For everyone, every generation, we're gonna see a lot of change in this VUCA world. I mean, war is normal for us to see, and many changes. It's gonna be pandemic. It's gonna be a lot of things that can be changed. So I think the coping mechanism is at first we pause. I pause.
All right.
You need to stop and see
Mm, mm,
the big pictures and to reflect what actually happens and then reframe those things into a bigger pictures and into more positive, more possible way to solve the problem.
mm,
Because if you don't reframe it, there's one way, one solution that cannot be done. But if you reframe, you see the big thing, you see different side of thing, and that gives you more perspective to do it. And then people face with fear, and I think fear is in every one of us. And how you cope with that is you accept it. You don't resist it. You accept it as part of your life. You have to face it before to feel this
Right.
fear inside you and then sit and ride with it. It's like people talk about, oh, are we gonna lose our job from AI instead of fear of AI?
Right.
How can you ride with AI? It's like surfing. And how can I surf with the wave of AI instead of being stuck under the wave? That's how you see the situations, bigger pictures. But first, pause, sit for a while,
Right.
because that come from meditation, come from consciousness or whatever that can help you calm and relax, and then reflect first, and then reframe the situations and ride with the wave, ride with whatever fear you have. And it's not easy to speak and it's not easy to do. But I think each step of the journey, each step of those process help you getting stronger. And sometimes you're gonna fall during the process. And that part of the process, you have to accept that it is a failure that you're gonna have, because if you resist it, oh, it's not gonna be, I'm not gonna fail, and I'm gonna sit tight and hang on to that piece of thing, and it's gonna give you frozen moment that you can't do anything, and that doesn't help. But that happened to everyone.
Right. So if I was to summarize what you shared just now, right, it was pause, reflect, reframe. And that
Yes,
is when we meet with a pushback.
yes.
Then be accepting of fear, right? Don't keep resisting it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe sit and ride with it instead of worrying that it's going to take over your job. Why don't you see how you can use it to enhance your job?
Yes, and how
And
can you control it?
that's right. Accept the failure. Yeah, so you failed. Failure is just a feedback. You did well or you didn't do well. So move on. How did you create the practice of being able to pause and reflect? What was it? If it was meditation, when did you start? Because I'm sure in the thick of the moment, you can't think.
I think it's actually meditation is just part of it. I think the ability to help me to pause or reflect or reframe those things, I think you have to have consciousness, and that comes from simple word, routine activities. So routine, simple routine. I had my personal experience during the panicking period. We can't think straight. Even
Okay.
though it's a simple questions or simple thing, we can't think straight because it's everywhere in here.
Yeah.
So the routine is like you wake up every day, you
Mm,
do stretching, morning drink coffee, whatever you like, a walk, a short journaling or thing, but you have to make it a routine so your
mm,
body, your mind remember that, okay, we have something that we can control. This
mm.
is us working, this is ourself working with ourself, right? To
Yeah.
oneself, to something, because a whole world is going crazy and we can't control it. Nothing in the world, no single thing in the world that we can control.
Yes.
But the routine activity keep me focused on doing things like I do this every day, and that routine helps you think better, help you calm, more calm, and that it lead to something you would call flow state. When you are in a flow
Oh.
state, you think better and some enlightenment come up. For me, recently I play tennis twice a week.
Mm,
I exercise more, and it sounds like simple things. But for me, I think it does help bring back the momentum when you got panicked or when you got unexpected thing. Routine activity or routine thoughts or the moment that you are back into your path helps a lot.
right. So I guess what you're saying is that whatever simple task it is or activity, if you make it a routine action or a habit, it
Mhm.
allows your mind to have a sense of control over
Yeah.
itself, right?
A lot of things you can't control, but you can control your own attention when you wake up. At least the first hour when you wake up
Yeah,
before you pick up your phone.
yeah, yeah.
Second thing is your effort and then your kindness. What am I gonna do today?
Mm,
And that's a good start of the day. Even though you have the bad worst day, but at least the starting point would help you less messy or less chaotic. And I think
mm.
that's That's the simple rule. So part of that ritual or part of that routine, maybe meditations, or maybe depends on the people chemical inner, what do they like. So for some people it's just walking on the grass, or talking with your dogs, or yeah, anything
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that give you like, this is my area, my space, my sense of belonging.
Let's move to a new question then about spirituality. How would you define spirituality and where are you in that journey?
Wow, this is a very big question. I don't know about the others, but for me, I think spiritually is about connecting, communicating,
Mm.
connecting with oneself, connecting with others, and connecting with the larger sense of meaning, whether it's energy, whether it's anything that is around, surrounding you. It's not about religion, but it's the reflections, it's the presence moment that you are in, and purpose will come
Mm.
eventually. So
Mm.
spiritual to me is the connections and understanding, especially with
Right.
oneself. That sounds simple, but it's not easy to understand.
Mm.
Even for me, I still on the process, the
Right.
journey of understanding, connecting with myself
Right.
on that.
So spirituality is connecting with our inner self and observing and then acting out consistently with that, right? As we observe the connections that we have. Wow.
Yes.
Do you think it's possible for us to live a simple life? And what's a simple life for you?
All right. So simple life where we know what truly matter for us and leave out what is not important or what doesn't matter, is about clarity and making a choice,
Ah, okay.
not cluttering. So it's go in depth more, and it's also back to the spiritual journey a little bit. So spiritual journey is about aligning with yourself. And then when you align with yourself, the simple life would eventually emerge.
What are the three words to describe thriving that you will use?
Thriving to me is first of all, adaptability, because
Hmm.
adaptability is resilient, is yeah, actually it's my high school quotations. The ability to adapt yourself is the way to success.
Lovely.
Yes. So adaptability and then emotional intelligence, because I think that's what help you control, or
Yes.
not control, but understand yourself and other, and not being dragged outside by not knowing. So it emotional intelligence give you the conscious and the connections to lead compassionately and to be grounded, well grounded with yourself. So
Right.
that's the second word. And then the third word is purpose, the why, the clear why drive us beyond. Why are we doing this? Is it benefit? If it impact, is it, or we just like it? It's, I mean, everyone's why is different.
Yes.
But if you understand your why, that's enough for you to answer yourself.
We do work on sustainability, and we define sustainability as the ongoing thriving of a living system. And more than the climate change, we talk about sustainability from the mindset perspective, like the shift to move from being an individual to a collective. How do you define sustainability and what does that encompass?
I think sustainability is about seeing uh creating system not only for business but everything, that it can last long, that it
Mm.
can actually take care of itself, regenerative, inclusive, and future ready, seeing things in the futures. You feel like it's contained,
Ah,
that the sustainability is the state that go on and go on and go on
right, right.
consciously. Yeah.
Right. In your modules at the university, when you teach the students, what do you see about their awareness and acceptance and adoption of sustainability?
I think people are more aware, especially the young generation, of sustainability, not only environment sustainability, but
Yes.
in a long-term containment of themselves.
Right.
At my university, I emphasize sustainable entrepreneurship to encourage the student to think about not only one thing, because when you think about one thing, let's say you do business with profit only, but I also encourage them to create other impact besides the profitability, so that you can have different way of thinking. And then when you design the solutions, the product or customer value propositions, it create impact more than just business impact. When it creates impact more than business impact, another business model emerge and more business opportunity came up, because you add more stakeholder into
Mm.
your design of the value propositions. And when each stakeholder gets satisfaction, that's your opportunity. Not only business, but also your network. You build ecosystem on that. The ecosystem is the one that make things sustain, because ecosystem help support a whole solution. And this is important, especially in Asian setting.
So ultimately, when you're talking about sustainable entrepreneurship, you want people to be able to zoom out to see what are the subsystems, be able to leverage on the interconnection,
Yes.
interdependence of this ecosystem, so be sustainable in the long run.
My recent research on SEI, it means social entrepreneur intentions. How can we make people who want to be social entrepreneur become social entrepreneur in a sustainable way? Because a
Mm.
lot of people think that being social entrepreneur is easy, but when they actually start social entrepreneur journey, it doesn't last long.
Right.
they they come out and they think, oh, I'm done, this is too tough for me, this is not for me. So how can we keep SEI, social entrepreneur intentions, sustain and last long? One of the things that come out from the research is they gotta have risk-taking ability. And the second thing is that from individual oneself, but for the ecosystem support is called camaraderie,
Ah,
which is different from just society or network or friends. Camaraderie is the one who do things with you, who support you, and then when you fail, you know that this is the place you can go back, and you have the courage to reinvent again, because you have your camaraderie to support you. So that's similarly linking to the ecosystem, and that support each
that's
other.
an interesting insight. When I look back at my own entrepreneurial journey, I've failed in equal times as much as I've succeeded. And you're right. If you don't have friends who are there for you, then you don't know how to pick up the pieces. And likewise, if you don't have friends, when you have a great product, you can't sell to anyone. What you're pointing to in the area of social enterprise, even though you're doing good, right? That camaraderie is even more important factor to be able to engage your entrepreneurial activities successfully.
I think doing good is important. It's the first purpose that you should have when you do social entrepreneur. But what keeps that purpose go on and not being abandoned or left out or quitting is the support system, like camaraderie. That's the indicator, or that's the factors, the catalyst, because the
Wow.
mediator that make things sustain.
I'm going to ask you some short, fun questions, so don't
Yeah.
think too much. What's your favorite book?
Oh, okay. Actually, I just finished it actually during my DBA program, Thinking Fast and Slow.
Ah, right. And what's your favorite travel destination?
Oh, my favorite travel destinations. There's a lot because I travel a lot, and but I still like Spain.
Oh, lovely.
How
Great.
about yours?
Mine, I'm a creature of comfort, so I don't like to travel unless I'm traveling for a purpose.
Okay.
And wherever I go is fine. I
Mm-hmm.
just let myself fit in. But for a long time, Thailand used to be my favorite destination. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Wow. Interesting. So, if I have the superpower, I would give that power to everyone to have wisdom for their own self.
Right. Okay. So then the whole planet will be wise people.
I think wise is one thing.
What's the best advice that you've ever received?
What the best? Okay, the best advice is very very simple. Take care of yourself, eat good, sleep well. That's it.
Okay.
Simple rules.
Okay, so then the opposite. What's the worst advice that you've ever received?
Success is everything.
Hmm.
Because
Okay,
that's it's not everything, but when you put yourself into that, sometimes you sacrifice a lot of things and you heading to that way. It's not a bad advice, but it's sometimes misleading at the certain stage of life.
right, right. Yeah, so true. Well, Ajari, thank you so much for being on this podcast to share your thoughts. I'm sure our audience from all over the world and Thailand will enjoy listening to what you had to share. So we've come to the end.
Okay, thank you, Ramesh. Thank you for having me as well. I enjoy these conversations and also give me some reflections along the way as well. So that's wonderful and very good to reconnect and catch up with you again. That's wonderful.